From a budget keyboard angle, the Neo lineup has been on a great run for the better part of a year, offering inexpensive, high-quality customs packed with features. The latest offering from the brand is one that I've personally been waiting for, as I know a lot of other people have as well, coming in the very love it or hate it Alice layout with some tenting. So let's look today at some of the first true ergonomic mechanical keyboards, how the Alice layout emerged in this hobby, and how the new Neo Custom compares to other keyboards within its price range. Ergonomic mechanical keyboards are not a new concept and have been around since the 90s. The first and only Cherry-produced ergonomic keyboard was the G80 or the Ergo Plus. Since then, we've seen a number of variations of ergonomic keyboards, from the open source Helix, which was a split ortho-linear board, to the Korn and many others which have all seen a number of variations over the years. Now, although there's a fantastic community centered around projects like these, and split ortho boards have even seen love recently with the Altair by AIO3, most of the more commercial enthusiast boards take a more stylized approach. This leads me on to the Alice. The specific Alice layout we all know well today was named after the TGR Alice, which was a 60% ergonomic keyboard designed by Yuxi. TGR Alice was based off the EM7, which was an ergonomic keyboard offered from Limworks. As quoted by Yuxi, it has a layout that requires almost no effort to adapt, yet so comfortable to type on. Since then, we've seen a number of other designs implement this layout, boards like the Meridian, which was AIO3's take on the layout with an 8-degree slope, to recent boards like the Boomerang by Laminar, which is based off of the FLX Virgo. We've even seen the layout enter the more entry side of the space through companies like Acco and Keychron, both having their own Alice-esque releases. So now that we've looked at a few of those that came before, let's talk about some of the specific features that the Neo Ergo has adopted, and then we can run through how I built this thing up and see how it sounds. The board, like its predecessors, features a slick and minimalist side profile, as well as a weight that features a modified orbit logo. This has inserts to allow an extra step of customization if you want to mix colours or materials. The board also comes with a nice mid-piece that houses the batteries for wireless capabilities, as well as the doors board and magnetic connectors. From a design perspective, I'm really glad they included this. I think it adds an extra something to the look of the board while being able to offer that extra step of customization to match different keycap sets you like. As long as the keycap set's, red, gold or black. I was interested to see how the shape around this would impact the minimalist design that the Neo series has been going for so far. But saying this, you can really see that this has been something that a lot of thought has gone into, with the incorporated slope of the top case giving the impression of a more minimal footprint on the desk. Like the Neo AT, the Ergo features the ball catch system as well as the magnetic connectors for the PCB, allowing easy building and rebuilding. I'm glad they went for a more stylized angle from a weight perspective again though. The last thing I want to mention is the gasket mount approach that this specific board is using. They've incorporated strips on the inside of each of the PCB halves as well as the corners for, and I quote, a more evenly distributed typing acoustic experience across the entire board. So I'm interested to see how this feels and sounds. The resultant board that I have in my hands is a little different to the initial teaser renders that were shared of the board at the end of last year. The initial board adopted the Alice layout without the tenting, as well as the symmetrical 3 keys on either side of the board. I much prefer the 4-key panel that the release version has adopted, as well as the incorporated LED diffusion at the bottom left of the board. I always like this in my Spring, but glad it's a little more subtle in the Neo Ergo as opposed to a giant light bar. They've also added LEDs to the gaps where the keys stagger in the alphas. This is a little less subtle and I don't know how I feel about it personally, so we'll definitely need to see what it looks like once the board is built up. Right, enough yapping, let's run through the build of this thing. Ergonomics in keyboards can often be seen as a bit of a touchy subject. Each person's seating position, typing position, their own pains and problems when typing for long periods of time will all have an influence over how beneficial a certain board is going to be to them when typing on it. At the end of the day, the most ergonomic board is going to be one that's split into 2 halves. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to tailor it to your own personal problems and preferences. That being said, there's 2 major ways that our wrist can be angled unnaturally when typing on a regular keyboard. First one's ulnar deviation, so this is the outward rotation of your wrists, and the second one is forearm pronation, so holding the wrists rotated too flatly against the desk. Our regular Alice helps for the first one, but without the tenting as seen on boards like the Neo Ergo or the recent Type K, the second one isn't touched on at all. Typing experience on these kind of boards isn't for everyone. I for one really enjoy it and I have done for quite a long time. I think the sound signature of this specific board is really nice. As a gasket mount preferring man, I do really like the feel. I mean, it looks pretty damn good too. The spacebar's a little weak, but I mean, that's to be expected for the size of the spacebar on these boards. This thing is pretty damn tall, so I do really like the included wrist rest that they sent with mine. And I'm still not a massive fan of the LEDs, but I think that's a preference thing. What I think I'll probably end up doing is just taping over the gaps with black tape, because even if you take out the diffusers, you can still see the LEDs through the gaps. I think it would have been nice if they included some like black plugs to put in, but again, preference thing. I'll always have a soft spot for Alice and Arisu style boards, as this was the real reason that I got into this hobby in the first place. Although you could argue that it really isn't that ergonomic, as it doesn't adjust to the specific needs of the user. I have a bit of a weird take, because as important as ergonomics are, I've always been a bit more of a form over function guy, so I'm trying with the ergonomics part. The stylized look compared to regular rectangle layouts is something that I've always liked the look of, and using one on and off for the past few years is a layout that I honestly really enjoy using. To me, it pushes the boundaries of what a keyboard can be, and I'm glad QWERTY and Neo have delved into a more distinct layout for this release. Now, that's all I had on the Neo Ergo. If you enjoyed the video, do make sure to subscribe and leave a like on the video down below. And let me know what you think of the board in the comments. As always, if you're interested, I'll list all the details that are available on the board in the description. Make sure to follow my Instagram and Discord for any other updates. Thanks for watching, and I will see you nerds in the next one. Peace!